Welcome back to another episode of For All Stages and Ages. I am joined again by Alison. Alison is the Forest School leader. So she has come back on the show to give some information today about some of the maybe more riskier activities and maybe safety concerns that some parents have been having around Forest School. So lovely to have you on again, Alison. Can you, just for people that may not have listened to the first episode, can you explain what Forest School is and how it differs from sort of a traditional kind of classroom setting again for us?
So Forest School is outdoor learning for the children, and we immerse them in nature. We spend 2 to 3 hours outside, and it's so beneficial for children's emotional well-being. The children make a connection with nature, and they learn so many skills that they would be learning inside in the normal classroom, things like team building, problem solving, and still going to be getting all their maths activities out there as they're negotiating and counting and exploring. There's just so much that they could be doing outdoors, and it's just better to be outside in the fresh air and doing that outdoor learning.
Brilliant. Are there any like core values or principles behind a Forest School education?
There are. So we have our Forest School principles, and it's basically having Forest School leaders teaching the children outside for long periods of time. So it's enabling children to take those risks in a safe, controlled environment. We don't want to eliminate the risks because obviously then that takes away any benefit of learning. And it's following the child's lead. So as we do in early years curriculum, we follow the children's interests and what they want to do. Forest School is the same. It's holistic learning with children making the choices of what they want to be doing, and then the adults are there to facilitate that learning.
Okay. Thank you. One of the sort of concerns that I've seen on social media and questions around Forest School recently has been parents having some safety concerns, especially if it's done through a third-party Forest School that you can book in sort of school holidays as opposed to a school setting Forest School. So many parents associate outdoor play with risks and dangers. How does Forest School approach safety while kind of still encouraging the children to be outdoors and do what they need to do outdoors?
Yeah, it's a very much of a gradual build up in the Forest School. So the very first session, if it's children that's coming for a holiday club that the adults don't know, then it's really important that they get to know those children. They know their abilities, their understanding of danger and safety. And so the very first sessions would always be an introductory session where you're getting to know the children, you're seeing if they can follow those boundaries and the understanding of what they can and can't do. You obviously very thoroughly risk assess anything involved with tools, fires. You're looking at a 1-to-1 ratio. And so it's just really, if you are unsure, ask the leaders of the session how they're going to facilitate the sessions, what they're going to be doing, how many adults, and how do they keep the children safe.
Okay. And if a parent was to go to a Forest School that isn't within a school setting where the teachers are obviously doing the Forest School in the school setting, and they were taking them to, say, like a holiday club that had got a Forest School, if the parents were wondering about it, are there any qualifications that Forest School leaders need to have that parents can ask for?
You do. You'd have to have a Forest School Level 3 leader because they're obviously been trained in how to assess the safety, and also they have to have a Forest School 16-hour first aid, which caters specifically for the things that they're going to be encountering outside, which includes things like weather, hypothermia. Obviously, there's going to be more contact with insects, the ticks. So it's making sure that they have got those qualifications as well.
Can you give some examples of maybe the risky play activities that children might do at Forest School and how they would be supervised during those activities?
Yeah. We always start with a Forest School agreement. So this is where we sit with the children and we agree what things we can do that are risk taking that we might need some adult support with. So the first thing we talk about is tree climbing. Children love to climb trees. It's so good for their physical development. But what we don't want them doing is going too high. and also not being supervised. So it's setting that boundary from the beginning. If you want to do tree climbing, come and get an adult. And so then the adult will be there to support them, guide them, stop them if they're going too high, and obviously making sure they're using the appropriate trees for climbing.
Okay.
Something that maybe we always talk about tool use, and we talk about what's called a blood spot. So a blood spot is any area, if you put your arms out, if you're touching something or a person that's within that space, then they're too close. So it's making everyone aware of where they should be standing at the different activities as well.
Okay. There's some parents that are obviously more concerned about their children kind of doing safety activity, risky activities than others. There are some parents that are quite happy to kind of let their children climb a tree. And then you've got parents that maybe are a little bit more wary. Do you help those parents sort of move their mindset from seeing risky play as being dangerous to understanding it is essential for child development, essentially?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I could talk to them, you would explain your knowledge, but actually, especially the parents get to experience it for themselves as well. So if there is an opportunity for a parent to come along to like an introductory session where they get to see, and that's how they're going to build up the trust in you and realise how much their children are going to get from it. What we don't want to do is create a generation of risk-averse children who are too scared to take a risk because all they're hearing from the adults all the time is, don't do that, stop that, that's dangerous. So we need to be mindful of our language as well that we use. So when
Yeah.
children are doing something, rather than saying, stop, that's dangerous, ask them the question, do you think that's a safe choice? Before you do any more, what do we need to consider? And just getting them to think and do their own risk assessing. And then that way
Okay.
the parents will see the benefits for the child and the skills that they're going to be learning from that.
Okay. Are there any specific instances or stories or moments that you've seen in forest school where children have kind of benefited from taking risks in forest school?
Yeah. I would say for your shy, quiet children, it's the team working and building on those social skills, because I can think of an activity where they'd found a log and then they'd made a seesaw and then the children were working out how to balance it. And it was such a fun activity that everybody wanted to get involved. So even those shy, quiet children, it really does help to build their confidence in their abilities and, being with other people.
Yeah. And it's great for their imagination as well, isn't it? And my little boy does forest school. And some of the things that he comes back and tells me that they've done, or they've done the activity, but the stuff that he's kind of like concocted in his head, these little stories of, they saw a bear in the woods, and I'm thinking you didn't, but okay. But yeah, he loves it. He loves doing forest school. Yeah, there you go. The Gruffalo, that was another one. Yeah. So what should parents consider when deciding whether forest school is a good fit for their child? Are there any children that forest school wouldn't be a good fit for? Are there any children that may not suit forest school?
I would say there isn't. Forest school is for everybody. We have children with special needs who still come out with us. We just obviously making sure that they've got the adequate adult ratios. And it's just about knowing those children. We've got some children who don't like the cold. You just make sure they're wrapped up warm. You might start off with some shorter sessions. But as soon as they realise what they're going to be doing out there and it's so much fun for them, they can't wait to go the next session.
Yeah.
So it is really interesting to see those children that in the beginning are a bit, don't want to do this, I don't want to go outside, to the next day come running in like, when are we going forest school? So forest school is for everybody. It's just making sure that you make those adaptations to make everyone feel comfortable.
Okay. And if parents are maybe have enrolled their children at a forest school, is there anything that they can do to continue supporting their children's interest in nature and risky play at home? I know you can go on a walk in the woods, for example, but is there anything more specific in terms of activities that parents can do?
I mean, scavenger hunts are always a great idea, and there's lots of resources online for the different seasons of things you can go and do. There's also, I know next week is the Birdwatch Week, so you can get involved in things like that, which again is creating that, understanding of the birds and, giving children, getting children outdoors, and, doing it together. the opportunities are endless, really. There's just so much you can do, from just going for a walk outdoors to identification. There's lots of apps that you can use to identify any flora or fauna in the forest. Just follow your child's imagination, really. You may have something in mind that you want to do, but they've always got their own ideas, and it's great to let them, just express themselves.
Yeah. On social media, and there's a little bit of a perception that outdoor learning is less structured, essentially, than a traditional school setting. How does Forest School kind of balance the freedom of being outdoors, but also giving them a structure in terms of what they're learning?
Yeah. So being outdoors in the learning, no, we're not sitting in the class and sitting at tables, but they are still having all those opportunities. So we still incorporate maths in our activities. So when we're going on scavenger hunts, we're looking at shapes, size, quantities. We do phonics. So when we're looking at identification, we're still including, those core skills. Forest School, we do still have a bit of structure to it. We always start and end it with a song at the beginning, discussion. It's very well planned. The activities each day are carefully planned, but we still allow for those children to go off on their own and do what they want to do as well. So we're still meeting all those children's learning and development needs.
Okay. What do you hope parents and children as well take away from their experiences at Forest School? What are your overall hopes that they get from an experience at Forest School?
It's that awe and wonder, that fascination, and the wow, we can do this. We want children to be confident learners. We want children to explore. It's what children do at school. They need to have the confidence in their own abilities. So by going to Forest School, they develop that resilience of, I can keep trying and I will keep succeeding. And those are life skills that can be transferred into everything that they do. Things like tool use, by doing Forest School, the children are, it's that danger. They feel that they're doing this risky play and this risky behaviour, but obviously we know it's in a controlled environment, and it takes away the children trying those things in an unsafe place, playing with tools and matches in a shed, because they're actually getting to do that and experience it for themselves at Forest School with the tools, teaching them how to light the campfire with the splints as well.
Okay, thank you. And if there's one thing that you could tell parents who are maybe a little bit unsure about Forest School, what would it be?
Find somewhere where you can go and experience it as well. I think you need to experience Forest School to really realise the benefits for you and your child.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Alison. Yeah, well, that's everything that I wanted to sort of mention today and have a chat with you about, Alison. So thank you so much for coming on the For All Stages and Ages podcast again. We really appreciate it. And hopefully everyone has picked everything up and learnt something today from Alison. We will obviously put all of the links to Forest School and all of the information that Alison's given in the show notes as well. We'll also put details of the Stages for Ages Forest School information as well in the show notes. And we are looking forward to seeing you all next time on the next episode. Thank you again, Alison. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we go?
No, just get those hats on, get your boots on, and don't be afraid to jump in puddles.
Lovely. All right, Alison, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, and we will see everyone on the next episode.
Thanks. Bye.